At the very beginning of our story, we are shown two buses traveling along a busy road. These buses are completely filled with many female students, all of whom are on their way to their classes. Among them was a girl named Mitsuko, who was quite lovely in her appearance. She was diligently writing something down in her notebook. Then her friend started asking her, "Do you really have to be writing all the time? What's the benefit of making notes like this? Look around you. Everyone's having a good time. Why aren't you joining in?" With these words, her friend quickly snatches her notebook away, causing her pen to fall to the ground. And just as she bends down to retrieve her fallen pen, that's when we suddenly witness something approaching at an incredibly high speed. And along with those girls, it slices through both of those buses, cutting them completely in half. As a result of this horrific impact, every single girl is instantly severed into two pieces. And just as Mitsuko stands up, she is quite astonished to witness what has just occurred. It was only because she had bent down to pick up a pen that she was spared. Seeing this, she becomes extremely frightened, gets off the bus, and starts running away. Here we discover that the thing cutting everyone was nothing other than the wind itself, which was slicing through them all. This wind now begins to pursue Mitsuko herself as well. Upon witnessing this, Mitsuko starts to run away very quickly, screaming loudly. While she is running, she spots four other young girls appearing ahead of her, and she urgently calls out to them, telling them to duck down. However, it was already much too late for them. That wind, it slices them clean in two and then passes by. However, Mitsuko had managed to save one girl from that group when suddenly she notices a few girls cycling along, clearly on their way to some destination. She attempts to rescue them as well, but that very same wind does to them exactly what it had just done to her friends. And in the process, the girl she had just saved from that invisible entity also tragically dies. Upon witnessing this, she becomes utterly terrified and begins to run aimlessly in every direction. Subsequently, we observe Mitsuko approaching a river, only to be astounded by the multitude of dead bodies already present within its waters. These had been brutally severed by the wind, or more precisely, by that unseen, mysterious force. From there, she takes some clothes from one of the dead bodies and quickly changes. In the next scene, we observe Mitsuko, who, after walking for a while, has now reached a school where numerous other female students were also present. Her uniform was quite different from Mitsuko's. Pause. This also meant that she wasn't a student at their school. Pause. Just then, a girl came up to Mitsuko and started asking her, "How are you?" Pause. In fact, that girl was her best friend. Pause. But Mitsuko asked her, "Are you truly my best friend?" Pause. Because she couldn't understand anything at all about what was happening to her. Pause. She was in complete shock. Here, we also come to understand that Mitsuko and her best friend share a very deep affection for each other. Just then, a strong wind begins to blow, and Mitsuko, startled and scared, quickly retreats inside the building. Her best friend was completely bewildered, unable to comprehend what was happening around them. She then starts to question Mitsuko, asking, "Why are you trembling so much? And why do you look so incredibly frightened? What exactly has happened to you?" Then Mitsuko tells her best friend absolutely everything, describing how a sudden, powerful gust of wind had swept through, seemingly cutting down every single student in her school. Upon hearing this chilling account, her friend gently takes her to the window, carefully extends her hand outside, and then calmly tells her, "Look, this is simply the wind, and nothing else at all." Here, Mitsuko's heart finds a certain peace, and she begins to feel that perhaps this might just be a dream of hers. Following this, Mitsuko's best friend takes along two more friends, and they devise a plan to skip their class. Just as these four girls are about to make their exit from the classroom, their teacher suddenly appears and catches sight of them. However, the four of them quickly make their escape from the scene. The four of them, running quite fast, eventually arrive at a lake. At that very spot, Mitsuko's best friend then shares with her two friends all the details of her dream. Just then, one of the girls speaks up, saying that it's possible it might actually be true. Just like there exists a mirror world where everything is completely opposite or inverted compared to this world. Saying this, she throws a stone into the pond, and then she starts to say, "Look, here in this world, I have indeed thrown a stone, but it's quite possible that in that other world, I might not have done such a thing." Just at that moment, quite suddenly, a large crocodile emerges from that very pond, and then it quickly devours one of the girls present there. Then the girl starts to say, "Look, didn't I tell you before that whatever happens in this world absolutely does not happen in that other world, and whatever is happening in that world cannot possibly happen in this world. So, in that other world, a crocodile has eaten him, but here, just look, he is completely safe and sound." Right by that very lake, a bed, a sleeping arrangement, comes into view. These four individuals then begin to play, picking up a pillow from that bed. It's at that very moment that we observe two girls watching them from a distance. Among those two girls, one was distinctly dressed as a bride. This was because these two girls had in fact gotten married to each other. Following that, one of her friends explains that we need to accomplish something that is truly impossible within that world because our fate has already been predetermined, but we still have the power to alter it. Following this incident, all of these young girls make their way back to their school and then proceed directly into their classroom to attend their next lecture, when, quite suddenly, Mitsuko discovers a soft pillow lying right there next to her. As soon as she bends down to pick up this pillow, her teacher starts firing a gun throughout the entire class. And the moment Mitsuko picks up that pillow and looks up, all the girls in her class have been killed. And here, once again, she manages to survive, just like she was saved in her dreams last time. Mitsuko's teacher approaches her and angrily asks, "How dare you shut down this entire class? Your death is also inevitable." But just then, at that very moment, two other girls appear, trying to rescue Mitsuko and escape from there. However, another teacher arrives on the scene and brutally kills both of those girls. Mitsuko starts running outside with all the students whose lives had been spared. But then, all the teachers from the school immediately begin to open fire on those young girls. As the girls finally manage to emerge from the intense gunfire, the biting wind outside starts to cut right through them. And so, Mitsuko is now left completely alone here once again. She then runs away from that place, making her escape through the crowded area and proceeds to the police station. She begins to explain everything that happened there. After hearing her story, the female police officer points out, "But you're not wearing your school uniform, are you?" And then, when the officer holds a mirror up in front of her, Mitsuko gazes into it and realizes she has completely transformed. And the people around her were calling her not by the name Mitsuko, but by an entirely different one. It is at this moment that we find out she was actually about to be married. The very same police officer then escorts her to her wedding ceremony. Upon witnessing this, the people standing around her began to congratulate her. However, as soon as they all arrive at the church with her, Mitsuko's best friend is also found to be present there. Mitsuko then begins to question her, asking, "What exactly is happening to me right now?" Her friend then tells her, "Please, you must remain silent for the time being. We are currently under someone's complete control. You just have to do exactly as I tell you." And saying this, she helps her put on her beautiful wedding dress and then instructs her to go to the ceremony. However, the moment she steps forward for her marriage ceremony, all the other girls present there immediately begin to mock and ridicule her. Witnessing this cruel scene, her best friend starts to confront and physically strike each one of them, one by one. Following this, as Mitsuko steps forward, she finds a coffin standing in the spot where her groom was supposed to be. Upon the coffin being opened, a huge monstrous pig suddenly bursts out. Mitsuko, seeing this terrifying sight, becomes utterly petrified and then attacks it fiercely with a shattered bottle. After this, Mitsuko and her best friend come running out of the church. Here at the gate, two other girls also try to stop them, but Mitsuko's best friend manages to fight them off and they escape from there. Meanwhile, Mitsuko was running off in a completely different direction because she had now started to feel that something was going terribly wrong for her. As she moves further on, she glances into yet another mirror, and to her surprise, she finds herself transformed once more. Right at the very spot where Mitsuko was standing, a race was taking place. Suddenly, some girls came up to her, asking, "You're such an excellent racer. Why are you just standing around? Why aren't you participating?" And when she finally begins to run, she starts to feel a powerful surge of energy within herself. Following this, Mitsuko puts all her effort into trying to win the race. As she flees, she also sees her dead friends who were killed at her school earlier. Just then, her best friend also appears. They both notice the pig and the women who stopped them at the church, all coming towards them. While running, some girls tell Mitsuko to get out of this world. Following this, we then see Mitsuko, while running frantically, arrive at a desolate and dark place. It is there that some students come into view, all of whom were wearing school uniforms. All of those girls then begin to tell Mitsuko, "We are all already dead, and we will kill you too." But just then, Mitsuko's best friend appears on the scene, kills one of those girls, and quickly takes Mitsuko away from that place. Mitsuko's best friend asks her to call out her own name very loudly, and so Mitsuko begins to shout her name, repeating it loudly. With this, Mitsuko returns to her true form. Her best friend, showing her hand, says, "Please pull out the wire in my hand so I can leave this world." But Mitsuko was also afraid that pulling this wire might take her life. And because Mitsuko loved her best friend very much, she didn't want to do that. But when she was forced too much, She pulled out her wires. As soon as the wires were pulled, her best friend's body split in two. And at that moment, she saw a gate. Stepping out of that door, she saw that she had entered the world of humans. Her posters were also put up there. The poster that some boys were looking at. Just then, a boy approached Mitsuko and said to her, "You are in the future." Hearing this, she faints. After a while, when she regains consciousness, she moves on. She then sees an old man playing a game. And in that game, Mitsuko is the very character she has become. As soon as he sees Mitsuko, the old man says, "I am the one who created this game, and I am the one controlling all of you. You were actually killed a very long time ago, but I managed to take your DNA and from it, I painstakingly recreated you." Upon hearing this, Mitsuko finally realizes that this entire situation is nothing more than a game. She then starts to believe that perhaps she can still find a way to return to her own world. Just at that very moment, a man approaches and begins to call Mitsuko over to him. Then the old man asks Mitsuko to complete her final level. She starts to move forward. But then Mitsuko suddenly remembers the words her friend had spoken to her. That if we perform an action in this world that would be utterly impossible in the other world, then you will be immediately eliminated from this game. And with that, she strangles this man and begins to say, "Enough of playing with us." Saying this, Mitsuko picks up the old man's staff and plunges it deep into her own stomach. This shocking act immediately leads to her death, and at this very moment, we witness the old man's utter disbelief. He could never have imagined that Mitsuko was capable of such a drastic action. With this sudden and unexpected turn of events, his entire destiny is completely and irrevocably changed. She had already died in this world, that is to say, within the game, but in the real world, she was still very much alive. Furthermore, it is also revealed to us that Mitsuko's remaining characters, for one reason or another, take their own lives, and by then, they were no longer a part of the game. In the very next scene, we are shown Mitsuko lying in a snowy, icy place, and by this point, she had finally returned to her real world. And with this truly mind-bending story comes to an end right here. If you'd like to see more explanation videos just like this one, please don't forget to type next in the comments section below. Thank you for watching.